Yeah. And even like, I appreciate you saying that, because I think having had, like, you just, like, we're talking about, like, watching your father cheat on your mother and being like, okay, I have a documentary moment where I have something playing out in my life that to me at face value could look like I'm reliving what happened to my parents. But now I need to assess it and be like, I can't let my shit from my past influence like what is how I feel right now with this partner, and what do I want to do? Like, do you mind talking about just like when you found out, like, how did it affect you? Because you're obviously in such a more healed place now, but like, I've been there. I have been there, girl, where like I stayed with someone who cheated and I wanted to stay, but it was so complicated because those decisions are like, people are judging, you don't know how to react. Like, how did you handle all of this in the moment?
I think also you saying like you wanting to stay, it's interesting because your want isn't enough. Like, you can want it so bad, but that's just not enough, you know? And I think that understanding where that want comes from is also really important. Because if you're just doing it to want to prove other people wrong, then you're just doing it for others. And that's not a good place, you know, to come from. And it's interesting because, well, first off, I've never talked about this. So it is, I'm thankful for the safe space to be able to talk about it, because some of the stuff that I was challenged with, there's a private heartbreak that's taking place, and then there's a public heartbreak that's taking place. And both are extremely painful. But what was, I think, the hardest part for me to navigate through was giving myself that space and grace to make that decision for myself. And that was one of those moments where it was an opportunity for me to heal and look inward as to, okay, whether it's this person or another person that I get into a relationship with, I'm capable of still making these same decisions. So this is more than just like well, let me be the Barbie that everybody wants me to be and play Cupid with all of these cute guys in the industry that everybody wants me to be with. And because my life is supposed to be entertainment for other people. Or let me, really listen to what other people's perception is on what an empowered woman is. This very binary thinking, right? I wanted to go there. I really did. Oh man, the therapy sessions that I had of this like very black and white space that I was existing in. It's like, and it was very clear to me that it was a space where I needed to decide for myself.
But that's so hard, Becky, because like I think we all know, like there, especially because you were handling it in the public and private, like you just said, there is such a loud narrative, especially for women, of like, if you stay, you don't respect yourself. If you stay, you're weak. And like, what is your take on that assumption, and how did you manage to like block that out and be like, what do I want?
It's interesting you say that. There's a quote that Esther Perel, who I know you've even spoken to, who I love. I have the biggest girl crush on her.
She's amazing.
I remember hearing something along the lines of like, back in the days, women used to be shamed for leaving. It was just a mistake. How could you leave? How could you throw it all away? He can change. And then now it's like the opposite. Now it's like, if you stay, you're a dumb bitch. You're a dumb bitch. You so stupid. I cannot believe her. Oh my God, I could never. And it's like the girls who would say I could never, like, I actually love that for you. I love that that's where you started, that was your ground zero. That was not my ground zero. My ground zero was people pleasing, self-sacrificing, doing what other people wanted me to do, forgetting that I mattered in that equation. And this was an opportunity in my life to unlock and go inward and make this about me, which was so uncomfortable. It was really, really uncomfortable to go inward and say, wait, this is about me and what I want. And if you know me, you know that I do not make decisions passively. And it was so hard to shut out the noise. And the insiders say, she didn't even say anything. They just swept it under the rug and kept it moving. Like, no, I called off my engagement. I took off my ring. Like, there are things here that took place behind closed doors privately between me and this person who I love and care for deeply, who I've been betrayed by. And we could go into the spectrum of betrayal because it looks different for everybody. But the thing about betrayal is it doesn't just make you not trust the other person. You don't trust yourself anymore. And so that was like, this ain't even about you anymore. This isn't even about them anymore. This is about me. And there was something so empowering about that process to say, no, I come first. This is about me. What do I want? And there has to be alignment with the person on the other side. Like I said earlier, like the want isn't enough. The love isn't enough. Like love it's a beautiful thing to experience for someone. But I mean, considering everything I went through with my family, like I walked away from my dad. Like it wasn't something that I wasn't willing to do. And so I think the misalignment from a public perspective, how it was so, and I'm not really like a controversial person, you know, maybe getting blackout drunk in Disney World is probably the most controversial thing I've done. So It was so unfamiliar for me to kind of like wear this like, I don't know, this thing that was projected onto me that I am like not an empowered woman, that I'm a contradiction about what I sing about. And it's like, no, those feelings are real. What I sing about is real. Like there's so much more nuance to emotions. Like, you're putting me in a box, and everything I've ever worked for is now being squeezed into this tiny, like I'm put to be this small all of a sudden. And it's like everything else I had ever worked on didn't matter anymore. And like, of course you think I was mad at everybody in the world. Like, I was mad at him too. I was like, come on, why do I got to be put in this position? You know?
It's so hard. It's like almost like when someone experiences it with their friends and family not wanting them to go back, like imagining that heightened to the 100th degree, where the world is like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then putting the world aside for a second, because I think this can be really relatable, because again, I went through it. Like, how did you navigate the emotions of feeling so hurt, but loving someone so much?
I think that emotions aren't forever. They're temporary. They come and they go. I can't make life decisions based off of other people's emotions in my comment section. You know, I think when you are a person on a platform or of some type of celebrity and fame, you are a bit of like a mirror to other people sometimes, and they think they're seeing you, but really what they're seeing is themselves. And so maybe they've gone through something, and that's why when a girl stands on her I could never, I'm like, girl, from this point on, I could never. Trust me when I say I just had to get there. Like I said, their zero was that. Mine had to be learned, experienced, felt, processed, and really like worked on with real professional intervention before I could make that decision. And that's what was really, I guess, important to me when it came to the documentary and like talking about it. I was, you know, some people were like, it's very unresolved. Like, are they together? Are they not? And I was like, well, that's what it was. It was 3 years ago, and it was unresolved. We didn't know we were committed to working on it, and we were committed to figuring it out, because when you spend that much time with someone, it's not that you want to forgive and forget. You almost have to remember. You have to remember what you come from and the hurt that's been caused, to know that you don't want to be capable of ever doing that to someone else ever again. And I got to experience that. And there were close people to me with enough, I think, discernment to know that people who don't know me should not have a say in what I do with my life. But there was people in my close circle who were protective of me, of course, who were just as hurt and upset about what happened, but also just as curious, and also just as supportive of the figuring it out. Because if this was going to end, it was going to end amicably. It was going to end with clarity and with real resolution and with respect, because that's what I deserve, you know? And if it's going to continue, in the words of Esther Perel, I love her, it's got to be a new relationship, because what was can no longer be anymore. And I know that there's a lot of things with like betrayal, you know, in relationships, any type of betrayal trauma in general. It's like, it'll never be the same again. But maybe that's the point. You know?
Yeah, it is such a great point. Can I ask, are you still together?
Girl. Yes. Yes.
Okay, so can we talk about like, one, how does it feel right now just like talking about this for the first time?
I got butterflies.
Well, I'm happy for you because I
Thank
remember
you.
in the days, weeks, and like month following when this happened to me, when this happens, like your reality is so shattered because like you said, you don't trust yourself, you don't trust him. You're like, wait, what just happened? I'm really struggling to understand how we got here. How did you stabilize your reality? And what questions did you need to start asking yourself that you're kind of referring to that got you to the place where you knew you wanted to move forward?
I think removing myself from the relationship. Yeah. And in a way that was about not just like self-preservation, obviously, like I was distraught and broken in a lot of ways. But I think it was more like removing myself from the context of anyone I've ever had to be something to. So it was much deeper. Like what came from this revelation wasn't just like my romantic relationship with this particular person. It's like every romantic relationship I've ever been in. Every family relationship I've ever had, every business relationship I've ever had. How many dynamics have I been in where this version of myself has been in the driver's seat? And really taking the time to evaluate it, feel it, understand it, and then come to a place where then my needs, my wants are a lot more clear. And then getting to, you know, what is it called? Like conscious uncoupling, you know, like conscious uncoupling to then be like, this is the new baseline. Is there still alignment in where it is that we see ourselves? You know, and that was really empowering, not just for me, I think for the both of us, but especially for me, like getting to a place where I was like, oh no, like I'm allowed to change, I'm allowed to evolve, and I'm allowed to exist in this so much differently. And if I'm capable of doing it, what actions are you doing that proves that you are committed to the same thing? And that takes time. Like that doesn't happen in weeks. That doesn't even happen in months. Like this happens with continued effort and experiences and willingness, and it's that commitment to being different on both sides. I'd say that really is what unlocks the healing of it all.
How did you start to rebuild trust, and like how did he meet you there? Because I think it really can't just be on the person who was the person who strayed. Like you also, like you're saying, have to take up accountability to also be like, I'm not going to hold this over your head, I am choosing to move forward. Like what did rebuilding that trust look like for both of you?
I think you just know. I think it is I remember being like, okay, well, I can't trust my gut because my gut has led me into some funny places, right? If I'm always going based off of survival mode. So like really, I don't think overanalyzing it, but really being honest with yourself at what part is coming up. Like I did in individual therapy and family therapy and couples therapy, like I do a lot of parts work, and it's so helpful for me because it makes me understand that I'm not just this version of myself right now. I'm every version and this one, and will be many more, you know? So like that grace that we were talking about before was something that I felt like I needed to take my time with. And so it was just me. I was really like learning to give myself the space and empowering myself with the experiences, with professional intervention, especially to be able to feel good about this decision. Because like I said, I think that whole like it'll never be the same again. Like something about that was actually exciting. Like, oh, there can be something new. And it's like, oh, I'm not the same version of myself that I was when I was 19, when you first met me. You're not the same person that you were at 22 when I first met you. Like we are or 23, very different versions of ourselves today, you know? And so I don't know, it's just this like earned wisdom, I guess you can say, that kind of is the guide in that. To stay or to leave is anyone's choice to make, you know, for themselves. And I made my choice, and I made it from parts of me that I, like I said, really worked on and earned to feel good about that decision. But I also can see all the other sides now. you know, and it's really a relief to be able to talk about it, because I know that there's so many people who don't know me, fans who are very supportive and very loving, you know, who saw me kind of going through this from an outside lens, not knowing the details, not knowing everything that actually happened, not knowing that what you see is not always what it is. And I feel like for them to know, like, it wasn't something that was done passively, and it wasn't something that wasn't done taking everything into consideration. It's not that it was important to me for validation, but it was important for me in the sense of standing up for myself.
Okay, like how many of us have stayed and it did work out, and that's beautiful. And if you didn't, that's beautiful for you,
Right.
but we can't judge anyone's situation, right?
Yeah, without really knowing. It's interesting you say, I appreciate all of that. I will say, going back to like the peace that I feel, I don't think it's that I was waiting at all for anybody. I think it was more just feeling like I wanted to catch people up to speed on my time instead of on other people's time. Like going back to the pressure cooker, like I also wasn't hiding. Like we go to the grocery store together. We, you know, like we have good times together. We are closest friends and family, you know what it is. And that's really all that matters to me. But I think, but it's that piece, you know, the difference between secrecy and privacy was unclear to me at a young age, growing up in the industry with everything and anything. And I think anybody who grew up on the internet, like I got discovered at 14 years old, making covers on YouTube. So I thought like, what I eat for breakfast, everybody should know. When I take a shit on the toilet, hey y'all, guess what I'm doing? Sitting on the toilet. You know, like all that era of like real-time posting, like I don't know, it's my relationship with it is so different and has definitely in a more evolved way matured, that feels right sized to the version of me that I am today, which is I don't have it all figured out. I am absolutely not perfect. But do I feel empowered? Yes, because empowerment as a woman isn't being perfect. It's living in your truth and standing in your truth and owning that there is a spectrum, an array of experiences and emotions and opportunities that are going to be taking place in this lifetime. And if I'm not fully present for it, that's where I'm really cutting myself short. And so to be fully present in this moment with you, talking about what it's taken to get here, you know, from the beginning up until this point is, yeah, it feels really good and feels really liberating. It's kind of what's been inspiring everything I've been working on. So
it's amazing because you can see how also passionate you are about this current era, I guess essentially you're in.
Yeah.
Can you see yourself getting married?
Can I see? Oh, absolutely, girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
I would love to. I'm like, repropose to me. Why not? Propose to me every year. Why not?
I love it.